now is we just talk while we're starting up. Just like
Hubbing and bubbing. Hubbing.
We're just like talking.
Yeah, saying stuff because yeah.
We don't know what to say because we've been quiet for so long.
Starting up.
That's
Welcome.
Right.
You got mail.
Meow. I heard a meow.
You've gotten mail.
An Australian cat. Not a cool cat. That would be a Greg. That'd be a big thing. He's a cool cat.
Hey, Phil, I'm going to give you back host.
All right.
I'm taking requests for the next Sax Jam.
Great day, sir.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Well,
Hey, Alex, take care.
hug your kids.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Victor,
day.
I think you just got a request for a girl from Ipanema.
Okay, I can do that
All right.
one.
Here we
Always,
go.
always.
So since Alex, everyone, we just saw Alex, and that's what he looks like, and remember that. He'll be back someday. In the meantime, we're going to be here talking about all things media, and welcome to the YouTubers who've just joined. We've been here for an hour chatting about all kinds of fun stuff, including Emmy Awards and Academy Awards and odd musical choices. We need some questions, so go over to Mukana, ask some questions, and we'll answer them or try to, and have a nice discussion while we do it. If you don't know how to join, there's a link in the Zoom chat. Head over to the Zoom chat. You'll see a link to the Mukana chat, and then you can go over there. There's also a link in there for Discord. We encourage everyone. We got a couple of new users today, so welcome to the new Discord users. I wish I had a way to kind of go back and see who that was that I should have waited. But anyway, welcome to the new Discord users
Yeah, we
today.
should start announcing whoever's new if we have
Yeah,
time.
I wanted to read the names, and I approved them, and then they just go off into the ether, and I don't have a way to pull it back.
Put their names
so.
up in Discord.
What's that?
Can they put their names up in Discord?
They could, yeah. If
we can
they're
see
listening.
who it is. If they're listening, indeed.
Yeah.
Can you sort the Discord name list by?
I don't think I can. I don't see a way to do as when they joined. We'll figure that one out because I would like to personally welcome the folks who are just joining us. Anyway, ask questions in the Mukana, and today we're going to be talking about audio. Yeah, Jeff.
Is there a name for someone who is from the land of Discord? A Discordian? Or?
Discordian.
I think.
Yeah, I like that.
A discordant.
Discordant.
Well, that's what I was thinking, Bill. Discordant.
Discordiite.
Discordian?
We're going to talk about this for about 20 minutes since there's not very many questions. So
Weird Al.
Okay, in that case, I'll ask, what sort of laser rifle does a Discordian carry?
That's right. You don't want to be a red shirt.
Discordian disruptor.
Exactly.
As long as they're not trashed for playing the Discordian.
Powered by dilithium crystals.
That's right. All right. That's good. All right. So we're gonna start talking about these, and Bill, hopefully you can field the questions for me, and we'll get started here.
Will do. Our first one comes from Philip Tesoro of Brisbane, Australia. During one of the recent pre-hours, some of you were talking about some of the perils of spotlighting in a webinar and the use of a second device to see the attendee view. What were some of the other tips for successful webinar spotlighting?
Yeah. Anyone got it? Yeah, Jason.
The most important thing to do is a dry run. Do a dry run with the person who's going to be switching your show beforehand. That will solve 99% of your problems.
I would love to see this as a in-depth video, how to like what is over the shoulder of Mickey during office hours or whoever's, doing, who is actually someone switching today. I don't know if anyone's doing that. No.
I'm happy to do it if you can promote me.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. See if we can't make it a little bit more. All right. You are.
And make it funky. Make it funky.
Do you have to be co-host or do you have to be host?
Honestly, I don't know.
Just co-host.
Are people of color.
Only host view is what the webinar folks will see, so you need to change it so that he
Somebody's got an audio feed.
Somebody's got an open audio there. Yeah.
That's guy.
Thanks. Okay. Good. All right. So Jason,
sorry about that. I was trying to say that only host is able to show that view, so you have to make Jason host.
Jason, you are now host.
All right, thank you.
Stand by. All right, there you go. Switch at will. Okay, back to Jeff.
Could someone who's done this, maybe Guy or Jason, talk about primary screen, secondary screen, and which you need to use to get the attendee view as the host who's doing the switching?
Jason's too busy.
I would, but I'm getting set up right now. Sorry.
Try.
Give him prep time.
My understanding is just to recap. This is very, very simple. Is if you have a dual screen selected in your preferences, then you have a sort of the second screen, which is your program stream, I guess, for lack of a better word. And as you switch and spotlight people, they go full screen into the program screen, and that's what attendees see. Is that am I correct?
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And then if you want to go back to a grid view, you have to just go to. How do you do that from that screen? You just highlighted me.
Okay, I'm also watching it on YouTube on the side channel, and Phil, you're still full screen, and now the audio picked me up, so I'm.
You have to cancel the spotlight. Cancel the spotlight.
Yeah, I have to. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that I would do this, and,
It's all right.
and then not be prepared
We're
for
throwing
it.
you into
So
the fire, Jason. You're going to learn, and then you're going to tell us.
You know what? I'll take it.
Burn
You're already doing better than I did the one time I cut
Jason,
the
if
show.
you don't want to screw it up, I can screw it up.
It's all right.
Well, you're welcome to screw it up if you'd prefer, but no, I'll cut my teeth out. We got no audio, so
Okay.
YouTube, the audio is all that matters. So who
John,
cares
you
about
got
the
your
Switch?
hand up there.
Well, I just again, the best advice would go to support.zoom.us, but they did just at Zoomtopia release some extra functions in terms of spotlighting and dealing with the gallery view, and it lets you spotlight up to 9 people, and there's pinning and spotlighting. So it can be a little confusing, but there are some documents on the Zoom support page.
Interesting. So let me understand what you just said. You can like shift click or something and select multiple people to be in that spotlight?
Yeah, the host can choose to spotlight multiple videos for all users, making up to 9 different videos visible at the same time.
Wow.
So it select a vision of what the gallery view is going to look like.
Okay, Jason, do the workshop and spotlight one person and see if YouTube changes.
All right, so
Now,
we're
the
gonna
downside of that is those-
spotlight Phil.
Okay.
Add spotlight, so that's 2.
Okay. Well, I see you. Maybe it's
Phil and John Edelson.
Panelist.
Yep.
It's going to take a second.
And then I'm going to add Stuart, who has his hand up.
I see all 3.
John, is that with a new software update, or is it just works now? Do you know?
I think this is new because I keep seeing a little thing flashing up when you're doing whatever you're doing, but I'm not seeing.
But
what
we
you're
as
doing.
panelists aren't going to see the fruits of Jason's work, I don't think, unless we're watching the YouTube.
I'm seeing
screen.
4 people
You
right
can
now.
be if you're on a second screen and your view is in speaker, not gallery. That spotlighting took me out of gallery into speaker, and I'm seeing the quad split now on my speaker view, and now the 5-way split.
And now we're at 5.
Oh, look at that.
So that it's complex, and it does force other panelists' views into something that they had not chosen. So it's a little weird.
Right.
Now, while I am getting a 4-screen experience here, Bill is the only one that is coming through on YouTube. Bill is soloed on.
Yeah. So I don't think Jason's switching for the attendees right now.
Well, that's interesting because I'm adding spotlight. Okay. I'm gonna have to mess with this and add some keystrokes. That's the real thing, because it's one click away from like drop person's video, and I don't want to do that.
David Anderson is saying as an attendee, I saw 2, then 3, then 5. Yeah.
You have to go back to gallery view to show it on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay.
As in the host has to go back to gallery view, or that Phil has to go back to gallery view. And while I've interrupted, John, is there keyboard shortcuts for the switching?
Yeah, that would be doing it to a Stream Deck would be the way to go.
I could only refer to things that are on the Zoom help support page.
His lips
I mean, I'm sure I can program for it. I didn't know you could add any of this. Stuart, I'm going to let you screw this up if you'd like.
All right. You want me to switch to, or you got to give Stuart, no?
I might be able to, but give me 5 minutes and I will actually run a cable so I'm on Ethernet rather than Wi-Fi.
Hand me the baton, brother. Hand me
Can't
the
we
baton.
use the auto switch function?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Can.
The big green button in the middle.
No, but the audio
usually the
switch
green
that pulls to
button. Yeah,
my
the one next
shot
to the
when I
cookies.
start talking.
I think we should leave it back at gallery view.
Hold on.
And,
All right.
and
So
move
let's go.
on.
Let's let you guys go back to just sort of switching what you're going to switch. Let's continue with the comments. Jeff, you've got your hands up.
Jason, don't forget to give Phil a co-host.
Yeah,
I will. Just a moment.
Good. Thanks. And Sky, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Well, I was gonna pick up the baton from Jason if I've been poking at this project, and so I'd love to learn.
Okay.
And I work.
All right. Yep. If you want it, Sky, you got it.
Passing the ball. Okay, Greg.
Okay. Let me.
I just wanted to remind the attendees that this is a little harder than it looks.
Well, yeah, I think it's a good learning experience.
It's good for you guys to see us struggling every now and then.
Yeah,
this is really what a TV show is like behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that goes on to make those things look so seamless.
Okay, so you should be seeing gallery. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well, we have to
Guy,
wait for
did
the
you have
delay,
your hand up?
right?
Yeah, there's about a 30,
Yeah,
30-second delay here.
Yeah.
So the most important thing to remember is just in panelist mode that there is something at the bottom that says follow host view mode, and that's all you really have to worry about is just flip it to that, and then as you're switching, that's what the attendees will see is either if you spotlight somebody, it'll spotlight them. Otherwise, just let the switching do the work. So it's in the bottom of the panelist controls. Turn on follow host view mode and let it fly.
And that's for attendees.
The person talk. That's for attendees. Yeah. Panelists,
right.
you can do your own thing because you have your own views. But
Right.
just for attendees, just flip this switch guy on panelists.
Sorry about that.
and
That's a really
call it.
great feature they're adding. I mean, that's going to be a game changer, just from a talk show format kind of a standpoint.
I want to
Can we at least
program a
get,
stream deck
Stuart's-
to do this just with the grid. I think that'd be much easier.
Right.
Can we at least get
I
Stuart's video
posted
off? I
the
don't want to see his
shortcut links
cookies anymore.
into Makana.
All right, hold on, one at a time. So sorry, Jeffrey, what were you saying?
I want you to turn off Stuart's video. I don't want to see his cookies.
Oh, that I
haven't seen it. Do you have them pinned?
Now the question is the definition of pin or spotlight. Okay, here's spotlight for everybody is Stuart's cookies.
Yep.
Which are different than yesterday, so apparently they're not just.
And pinning is local to you only.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Right.
Okay, remove spotlight and go back to gallery.
Yep.
And now I've got the gallery view. I'm only using one monitor, so I know last time, once upon a time.
That's tricky. I think what you're going to do is tricky with one monitor. Yeah.
And what we've learned is that Stuart has much more willpower than I do.
The cookie plate. All right,
And a sense of style too.
I want to kind of not. I want to keep the topics moving. So if you got a question, raise your hand, Sky, or for what you're doing. Otherwise, we're going to kind of keep the project moving here.
Yes, please.
So let's go to the next question, Bill.
TJ Asher from Minneapolis says, question for Victor. Can he explain why he chose to go with Zoom for his Sunday Sax Jam over using some other streaming platform like Twitch? No, not complaining, just curious about the thought process.
I think the thought process is that what we've done here has been very successful. And I think that I would like to get more interaction from the audience. When I was streaming before, you can just talk at them and thank them for putting in a comment. So I'm thinking that since usually there's not more than about 10, 12 people watching live, having them come on Zoom means that in between songs, I'm going to be able to have a real conversation with the audience. They're going to be able to tell me, hey, I'd like you to do this song. So it's going to feel to me more like what it does in a nightclub when I'm talking to people in between sets. We'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be successful. And I think the quality of the audio in Zoom, according to all of you, was good enough that I'll be able to, pull off high fidelity, which was my other goal. So there you go. That's my thought process.
That's great. And so how often now are you doing that every weekend?
Bi-weekly, every other Sunday. And I have set up now registration. If anyone would like a link to register to be in that Zoom, I did it just like we did it here. You have to register. I have to approve you. And then some folks will show up some weeks and they won't other weeks. And that's perfectly cool.
And no mic checks on your show, right?
No mic checks on my show. I'll have to work that out.
No AV shaming.
No. All the shaming will be for me. I bet I'll be reaching out to a couple of people out there to help me moderate and the show. That will be very helpful. Just because I won't be able to do it while I'm playing, obviously.
Courtney.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have to hire a virtual bouncer to get the drunks out of the, bar at a certain time.
Well, in the early days of office hours, we had people who were, I know Phil did bouncing, and there were quote technical bouncers who used to keep the panel clean.
And that's what I mean. Yeah, I want somebody like that. Like I've turned off, for example, chat. There will not be chat available during the stream for that exact reason. And again, I'm moderating every invitation. People who subscribe, I'm looking to see who it is beforehand.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem there would only be people unmuting themselves accidentally. So having somebody in there to constantly mute the whole channel, or I think there's a way to actually set it so
you can
they
mute
can't
all, I
unmute
think.
themselves. Yeah, but I think there's a setting where you can mute all, and then you choose to unmute who you want.
Right.
Again, I think I'll be reaching out to some friends here to maybe help me with that kind of stuff. But I think people will be okay. I will be doing some education so that people, hey, keep yourself muted and that kind of a thing, so that hopefully no weirdness happens. But people can be weird.
Yeah, nice work. I've been watching back the. You're doing some really good work. And
It's a
I like
blast.
seeing people express themselves from the group here, to see them stretch. Good. So, Bill, I put that other question over. Let's, if they're like extreme audio questions, maybe we'll save them for the second hour.
So I forgot it was audio day. Thank you.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But head over there.
Okay.
Actually, all this, the more I look at it, there's a whole lot of audio. So maybe we just go for it. Yeah, why not? Let's just go for it as they come.
Although we can say that if you have a non-audio question, this is the great time to go to the head of the list. Since
right. We'll get to them. All right, go ahead. Next question.
Okay, Tim Corbin in Baltimore says, what are the options for different methods of in-room IFB monitoring? Thinking about latency, mix minus, wired versus wireless, different budget levels, and types of mixers that make it easier, and so forth.
Anybody here? Yeah, Jason.
If you can isolate your sound, I got this. Every now and again, this is basically a lav body pack. But the nice thing about the Sonys is that they have a headphone jack. All of my lav mics are Sennheisers, AVXs that I really like, but these are completely solid. Every now and again, these will go on sale. I got this for $200, along with its partner on B&H about 2 weeks ago, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, Bill.
Just a technical thing. So IFB is interruptible foldback, and it's what TV stations used to use to talk to whoever the talent is on air in a live circumstance. So it's a comm system that goes both directions constantly. And one of the weirdest things to ever learn how to do is to do a live on-camera thing while someone is feeding you instructions at the same time in your ear, and learning not to pay attention to that while you're paying attention to presenting what you're presenting. It's a weird skill, and it's very difficult to do. So those smooth network level hosts are really working. Their brains are going pretty fast behind the scenes.
And just as to interject here, there are different levels of this. So there's just hearing all the program minus yourself is one level, and then adding talk back where you're actually hearing sort of a back channel producer in your ear is sort of another level of acrobatics that's happening, and that can start to really basically the bottom line to that means you need a separate audio guy to be juggling all those balls. And that's kind of my level of demarcation on that. Courtney, you had your hand up.
Yeah, you covered most of it. Yeah, there are specific comm systems that are designed to do this stuff, and now a lot of them interface to cell phones, so that you can run an app on your phone and stick it in your pocket and put an in-ear monitor in your ear and dial into any of the comm channels you want. The tricky thing is, if you're going to do comms locally, is try not to have any kind of delay. The lower the latency, the better, because if somebody hears themselves coming back through the in-ear monitors, they're not going to be able to talk, or they're going to sound drunk. And if you've got a mixer, the good thing to look for even an inexpensive mixer like a Mackie or something, if they have a lot of aux sends.
You need a bunch of buses.
The more aux sends or separate buses it has, the more mix minuses you can do, and the more people you can have listening on in-ear monitors that are hearing their own custom mix. So you can custom mix a separate mix for each person that is on a separate aux bus. So look for those, and then you can just route the output of each aux bus to each individual person.
Just get a sound guy. I thought.
Yeah, or hire a sound guy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Bill mostly said, I mean, Courtney mostly said what I was going to say about the cell phone, so I won't go into that. But every year they have these presidential debates, and there's always an accusation that somebody's wired, they're getting instructions. Is that possible? Does anyone know if there's like a invisible or hidden IFB type device?
It's possible,
Well, it's
but
an
I'm pretty.
but yeah, I doubt it.
They're checking for that stuff. The debate committees are definitely, there are a set of guidelines, even though it doesn't look like it when you watch them. And that's sort of one of the obvious things they're checking for. You'd be pretty brazen to be caught with one of those. Yeah. Jason.
So yeah, just to go in a little bit more, because there was mention of a mixer, and I'm not sure if he just was looking for the gear. The easiest way to do this is if I have an aux send, let's say it's aux 3, I plug in my, let's just say headphones into aux 3 out, and then aux 3 all the way across my channels is exactly what I'm going to hear. So if I want to hear a little more of channel 2, aux 3, channel 2, turn it up. That's how you mix. And yes, IFB, of course, means something very specific. I'm assuming he actually just meant in-ear monitors that were customizable.
Maybe, yeah. Bill?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you're worried about things like, are somebody feeding something to somebody, in the technical side, the engineering side, there are full spectrum radio monitors. You can tell every single radio signal that's getting in that room thrown around. So if somebody tried to do a little radio mic into somebody's ear to cheat, 1,000 people would know about it real fast.
Yeah. Greg.
Yeah, I was also just going to say that it really depends on the application, and I would ask all of our attendees, when you're asking a question like this, please give the application so that we can tell what you're trying to do, because it's possible that all he needs is an inexpensive CommTech system.
Right.
It's one
There's
way.
a lot of ways to skin this thing, depending
There's
on
a lot of ways to skin this thing.
Yeah. So if you're still confused or have questions, throw another question in, and we'll happy to go further on that. Yeah. Let's go to the next question.
Okay, we are on audio. Since it's audio day, can we get a refresher on how the LUFS are determined and displayed especially compared to DBA weighted?
Who wants to tackle this one, Jeff?
Sure, I'll tackle this one. So we've been, throughout the history of audio, trying to meter levels, and our human hearing mechanism does not hear things evenly. So if you go back to the equal loudness contours, some people remember Fletcher Munson or Robinson Dadson did these studies that our ear has different sensitivity to different frequencies. So we hear, sort of the high mids, sort of baby cry frequencies in the 3 to 5K really, really well. And we don't hear low frequencies very well. And that actually changes as sound gets louder. We're a little more even when sounds are really loud. We can hear low frequencies better when they're loud. So DBA was a way to weight a meter, and it basically rolled off low frequencies so that Low frequencies at low level would not cause the meter to bump up. So DBA is designed for quiet sounds, 40 or 50 decibels or less. And DBC weighted was used for like 85 dB SPL, sort of those kind of ranges, louder things. LUFS do a much better job. They're not a simple EQ. They are an EQ that changes across frequency, and they weight all the different frequencies the way our hearing mechanism works. So they are the closest meter that we have. And then we have to talk about time, which is why we've had both peak meters and RMS averaging meters. And in LUFS, we have integrated, short-term, and momentary. Forget the momentary. Integrated is over the entire program, so it'll be over a 4-minute song. And short-term is going to be over something like 3 seconds, and that's what we use here. So it's going to average that over time, and it's going to weight the frequencies the way you and I, human beings, hear sound. So a very small SPL at a very sharp frequency, like 3K, is going to make the meter move more than a loud pressure at, say, 40 hertz. That's hard to hear.
Bravo. Great answer.
Wow. Okay, Stuart, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was exceptional. That's a very great answer.
Right.
I love that one.
All right,
but I thought everybody might like to know that one.
Yeah, bring that one. Bring that one back and make it a video and put it on the site.
I was just going to try to summarize that by like, the things that are quiet. And this is how our ears hear. The things that are quiet are. No, his answer was perfect. I'm not even going to touch it.
What we need is a recording of that, but I'm a very graphical person, and this explanation really needs pictures. You really need to see
think of it as a
3-dimensional.
LUT. It varies by luminance. In this case,
I know
frequency.
You're right, but my point is I can see the mountains and a 3D mountain, and then sort of where you're going to measure those mountains, is different depending on where you're stretching the tape measure, and sort of a graphical to go along with the narration of what Jeff just said. Anyway,
we need Justison to do it in 3D.
Yeah,
3D
exactly
mountains
right.
growing.
Yeah, Greg, go ahead.
Just wanted to say that I put a white paper in the chat about how to exactly calculate LUFS.
Nice. Excellent. And Stuart, wrap it up.
Well, that explanation from Jeff would have been fantastic with more graphical overlays if you suggested, such as if Jason had been able to pin the WLM while we were talking.
Yeah. But even the WLM is a very sort of a finite razor line in time, and it to show the the scale of what it's doing is I could see it. Anyway, maybe I just needed.
My point, Phil, was that I could actually take over switching if Jason wants.
Oh, I see.
Willing to continue?
I'm not. No. It's Sky. I've given
Sky
the
switching.
ball.
All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. Next question.
We moved on. It's Dave Guzman from San Jose. Question for Phil. Oliver pitches using control surfaces to interface with Mimo Live and not Stream Deck. But I've heard you know how to use a keyboard maestro to bridge Mimo to Stream Deck. Broadly speaking, how do you do that?
Yeah. So I love this. This is a close to my heart thing, and I could geek out for a whole hour about this, but I won't. The basic answer to what you're asking, Dave, is I think what you're asking is in Stream Deck, when you go to add other sort of plugins, there's a little option down there to add sort of interfaces to other Philips Hue bulbs and all those things. There is a Keyboard Maestro plugin for that. And once you add that, then Keyboard Maestro can catch any of these triggers that Stream Deck is sending. So if the question is specifically about how do you use Keyboard Maestro, that's a deep dive. But the big, broad answer to that is you can do all sorts of things in passing keystrokes, if there are keystrokes in Mimo Live, you can actually make it pick a quadrant. If you have a dialog box pop up and you want to just hit a button, it can actually scan for text in a button on a dialog box and activate that button. There's all sorts of deep macros and scripts that you can do without actually having to learn to program to activate the actions within any program, including Mimo Live. If you need something very specific, I'm happy to answer it. But again, we could go down a very dark rat hole. Me just talking about Keyboard Maestro. Jason, you got a
yeah, actually, I had a question for you about that along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there was a Mac version. When I tried it, it wasn't stable. Is it only for Windows?
No, it's only for Mac. It's only
for Mac.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of macro WinKey, something like that.
Yeah, I think there's something. I'm not a Windows guy per se, so I don't really know, but I'm sure there is some equivalent. Yeah, John?
Let me see if I could channel Oliver, because he and I have discussed this a great deal. He prefers to use the control panels like X key that he directly controls. So his goal of not using these others is that he wants consistency and know things are going to happen. So when you have to use an outside app to move it. Also, since he's made the control available through an external iPad, you can build on an iPad something that resembles a Stream Deck. But the challenge that Oliver has is he likes to be able to control all these activities within his program.
Right.
Because he gives you so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
Adding the Stream Deck just is confusing. Having said that, he's thinking about doing it. He's thinking about doing it.
Well, see, that's the thing. So to sort of put a little tip on what you're saying there is the nice thing about an X keys or something that's sort of a MIDI control is it's sort of a direct communication back and forth between Mimo Live in this case and the keyboard. And putting Keyboard Maestro in between sort of removes that ability for acknowledgement of I'm hitting a key. Did you get the key? Sort of that handshake and response from the app to say, yes, I got this. And so the only way for that to happen would be if Oliver were to build one of those little plug-in modules for Stream Deck, which could happen, but it would take some development, when you got a million other things to develop. So that would be the only surefire way to glue the Stream Deck to. But I've had, I'm using them all over the place, Stream Decks, and I've figured out ways to make that work. Yeah, Jeffrey.
So the big thing is that you don't want to get off of the program in the middle of the macro, so it completes its function before you move on.
You can control that.
But
you can control who's listening and what program's grabbing what command.
Okay. But I think Companion, if you load Companion, you should be able to do hotkeys on both Windows and Mac. Yeah.
Right. But again, so their Companion becomes this sort of middle guy to that communication thing. And it's very difficult to sort of get that two-way communication to anything. So, and I think that's what Oliver's pushback is. If you're a purist about the control, and you're in like a NASA-like, it's got to happen, there's no way to absolutely know with certainty that that command was received. So it's just your level of comfort with that. Yeah, John.
Yeah, the iPad control of a Mimo Live program is rock solid.
Yeah.
And you just go down the list, go down to layers.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about it really working, that's the best way to do it. Others, you could also run multiple instances of it. So multiple people can be controlling that Mimo Live show.
Those are great pluses. The only negative is there's a very specific thing about a tactile button that I can keep my eyes right there, but I can know that my thumb is on the mute switch, and I can do that, and I can't do that with an iPad. I can't grab that switch, and that's the downside. Yeah, John.
Yeah, there used to be a thing that you could get for the iPad that laid over the keyboard and made you have tactile touch.
Yeah.
We should make something like that for the iPad.
That would be awesome.
So you could design the buttons so you feel like you're hitting something.
It's just like a little die cut piece of cardboard or something. So you could just, there were holes there exactly where you had to tap.
Yeah, I remember seeing that at CES and doing a review on it. I should have it on my website.
But then you'd also need haptic feedback from the iPad to know that you pressed the button. That's the other piece that you don't.
But it shakes now. You could do that. Invented here first.
Anyway, okay. So again, anybody wants deep dive on Keyboard Maestro, I'm happy to go down the road. It's just it makes people's eyes glaze over really fast when you start going into that world. So, but it can be fun. All right, next question.
Jonas Dotel in Reutlingen, Germany says, I am developing software to automate live streams. What is the preferred way of licensing such a software? I guess no auto updates. Would it be a problem when the software requires the internet once to activate?
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of questions there. Good questions. I would guess the first piece is what platform are you thinking of developing for, whether it's Mac or Android or a web piece. But let's just go around. Stuart.
I'm normally very much against edit systems and the like being online when they don't need to be, because it's the easiest way to protect your client's privacy and security is to have those machines offline. For streaming, it is probably the one case where the software licensing and activation should be done online.
Yeah. I'm going to assume it's probably some sort of web-based or desktop PC-based thing that I'm just from the nature of what you're doing. And I know there's a lot of third-party licensing and key generation plugins you could do. I'm not real familiar with any of those. If anyone else is, yeah, Stuart, yeah. Did you sneeze?
Yeah, I forgot something. The other thing with being online for streaming software is a lot of the platforms for social media are changing their APIs weekly.
Yeah.
So the streaming software needs to be online to get those updates on a regular basis, just to stick with the changes.
Yeah, that sounds like a full-time job. So you might want to pack your lunch. I think you're going to be busy with that one. Yeah, Jeffrey.
As an alternative, I know that Twitch has a feature that it can take over when you're not live streaming off of your channel. You can take over other live streams. So if you have several different Twitch channels, you can link them all together, and then if one is not running, it can play the other. But I don't know if that's the goal that you're going.
Yeah. Don't know. Good question. So Jonas, give us more detail if there's something else we can maybe point you in the right direction on. All right, Bill.
Andy Dolph in Durham, New Hampshire says, recommendations for lighting my home office Zoom setup, less than $100 total. China ball with CFL, ring light, LED panel. What should I use?
Okay, everybody's got an idea on this one. Yeah, Jeffrey.
I'm going to start with this one. Newer is always a good brand. They have these 2 packs of dimmable lights. They're at 5600 Kelvin. And of course, they have filters with them way under that $100 range. And it looks like it comes with some sort of tripod that you can use.
How big are those?
Probably not that big. I would say those look like camera lights, which I actually have one sitting up here.
4 or 5
it's just
inches.
about probably that big. Yeah.
Yep. Bill.
I think one thing that it depends on is what's in front of you, and do you have free access to it, or is it going to block things? A lot of people are going with ring lights these days. Ring lights, if you push them too far away, they become a point source. But if you can find a mounting solution where you can get it not far from the plane of your computer and maybe right above it, it is a nice, soft, very flattering light. If you have complexion problems, it often fills that in. That's why people like them a lot in kind of beauty work. That's kind of where ring lights came out of. So they're very flattering and very soft. And that's kind of, China ball is the same kind of thing. It's going to take a small light and make it apparently bigger, which will be softer and be more flattering. And all of these nowadays are kind of run by LEDs. So we don't have the big problems we used to have of, are you going to use fluorescent, hopefully color balanced fluorescent? Tungsten is kind of old because it's very energy inefficient. But that's ring lights, I think, are number one, and then everything else from there for this kind of at your computer Zoom.
Yeah. Stuart and then Greg.
I'm going to keep promoting these suckers, which are the ones that I'm using, only I've got the one that's tricolor. So
shop light.
I can actually switch between, I think it's 3200, 4700, and 6500. I think it's 4000 Kelvin. but if we just go up, there's also different versions. Ledvance is the company that used to be known as Osram out of Germany, and they used to make globes for everything. I haven't noticed any flicker from these things. They were $60 at my local Bunnings warehouse, which is hardware store. So in US dollars, they're probably $30 each.
Great. Greg.
I'm not using my lights today. This is just the ambient lighting from my two Torchiere kind of lights that are bouncing off the wall and the ceiling.
And what's your camera?
This is just a straight Logitech C930.
So it's got a little dark. Yeah, a lot of it depends on what your camera is too, as to how low light it can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill?
And those Torchieres are often halogen, and halogen is actually a pretty pure, nice looking light. The bulbs get very hot, so be very careful with that.
Right.
If you're in that kind of circumstance, don't put them next to drapes or anything else that can fall on them, because you'll have fire problems.
Yeah. Sky.
I'm learning a lot, hopefully not annoying you all.
No.
My ring light is...
when you tilt your head up just a little bit, you don't even need to tell us what your answer is. Chin up. There you go. We could see it right in your glasses.
Ring light by Guy Cochran.
That's
DVD
right.
store sponsored by. No,
That's
the pinning and the spotlighting is still a bit of a mystery.
Okay.
The big secret is the gallery view that I am watching is what we're seeing now, and then I will go to speaker view, and that will.
No, we're not. Attendees are just seeing you.
Which apparently Bill wants to speak. So apparently.
No. Go back to
just
gallery
saying,
view.
The gallery view is not going out to the crowd. You may be seeing it and it may be on your thing, but we're only seeing whoever's speaking.
I'm watching the YouTube channel.
I'm seeing it behind John. The gallery.
But that's delayed, I think.
Behind me is an attendee. What you're seeing on the screen behind me is the attendee on
That's
the
nice.
Facebook portal.
I think we need that as a cube is just a little confidence monitor, an attendee.
So Bill, bring up a YouTube channel in your upper right hand of this thing, say live on YouTube.
I actually have it up there, but the thing is that anyway.
All right, we'll figure that out for another day.
It is obscure. Running a Zoom meeting, switching a Zoom meeting is not trivial. You have to learn how to do it.
No, it's running a Zoom meeting for a Zoom meeting is one animal, but what gets sent out to the YouTube is still the thing I'm learning.
All right, you're doing a good job, Sky. You hang in there, man.
Sir, yes,
All right.
sir.
All right, so I think we answered the lighting question as good as we can. Andy, hope you find something that'll work for you. All right, next question.
Alan Scott of New Brunswick, Canada is asking, does anyone have a recommendation for email list management services or software?
Anybody got a recommendation? Yep, Kev?
Yeah, there's melissa.com, which if it's what it looks like is data sorting and address sorting, duplication removal, that kind of thing. If that's the kind of software you're looking at, melissa.com is probably best for that. And they do it for free for the first 30 days.
Yep.
So you can try it before you buy.
I know MailChimp is probably the gorilla, that everybody tries to beat. We used another one recently called, oh man, I'm going to come back to me. Anybody else have any ideas? No, I think there's a couple of them out there. The only ones I've had personal, trying to think of this one that we really liked. It was just a sort of a designery one, and it was real easy to send out. Come back to Alan. I will think of it and come back. Yeah. Sky.
Jeffrey Francis has something he wants to show.
Francis, what do you got there? Oh, a light. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that was the last question.
Okay.
An LED panel light.
Yeah. Okay. Email. So that was that's hopefully that helps, Alan. And if I think of the other one, I'll throw it in Mukana. All right. Next question.
Next question comes from Jeff Francis of South Carolina, who's on the panel, looking for a simple, free iPhone-based comm system for 3 to 4 people. Any recommendations?
Unity is probably what everybody's going to. Stuart, go ahead.
Well, if you're using a software-based switcher like vMix or OBS, you could probably use the NDI audio output and just use something like Sierra TV or Sierra Tools, I think it's called, their NDI viewer on your phone.
Yeah, you know what? Free. I saw your
for free.
You're free. Yeah.
Free.
I'll tell you what's a really good one. Discord makes a great comm system, and you can set up different channels, and so you can have cameras or production or whatever, and you can switch between them, and the quality is really great, and it's free. So yeah, check that out, Stuart.
The one problem with doing it via Discord is Discord means you're online, so you can't do it through an intranet. The solution I suggested was through an intranet.
Yeah, but the advantage is if they're remote, if you got remote people, you're good.
Yes.
So I guess Jeff, you tell us what you're.
Yeah, it's super simple. Vision mixer to 2 or 3 camera people in the same building.
Party line on Discord, and it's internet quality. It's like really great quality, and so it's.
Has anyone used Mumble? Because someone in the chat suggested that earlier in the day.
Don't know that one. Anyone else use that? Good. Tony?
I don't know if this would be appropriate, Jeff, or not, but would Zillow or a walkie-talkie app be something you could use? I just threw that out.
Can you put a link for that in the chat? Or at least
the
spell
only
it for me?
Zillow I know is the real estate lookup service. So I wonder if it's spelled oddly or something. Could be interesting.
It's ZELLO, the most reliable push-to-talk walkie-talkie app.
There you go.
And it works with iPhones as well as Androids.
Good to know. I'll look into it.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So give that a shot, Jeff, and tell us what you end up with. Okay. Next question.
Vincent Alvarez out of Bellingham, Washington says, could I take advantage of the new Zoom Spotlight feature and Zoom record a remote person? Spotlight switch between their face, and their slides, or are they only sending out one feed?
Yeah, that sounds like you need a switcher, like an ATEM Mini or something, back behind there. Let's go around, Jeff.
Just have them, they would need 2 devices and to log into Zoom twice with 2 accounts, one with their face and one with their slides, and then you as the host could switch between them.
Right. Sky?
And as we're discovering, you can also pin them side by side within a Zoom recording. So that way, if you wanted to have them and then what they're talking about. Now, reshaping the different images is not what I'm seeing that I can do in Zoom. You can flop them, you can move them around, but but this is exactly what StreamYard is. What I'm seeing, StreamYard has that capability. Haven't figured that out in Zoom yet.
Right. And they would need to come in if it's all originating from one person, they'd have to have a second login or something. Yeah.
Which again, that's what we were doing with StreamYard. Was that I love Zoom. Want to exploit it. I just haven't had that chance to do that yet. So
right.
StreamYard had that capability.
Yeah. Jeffrey.
This is something similar to what I'm doing. Actually, what I have is I'm going to be doing some recording today, and I have my ATEM Mini ISO set up, and I'm going to have 2 Zoom sessions open because one thing that I found out was if they're sharing their screen, that second screen is just, that's it. So I have to have one presenter on one Zoom and another presenter on another Zoom, and then bring it in. And of course, I'm using hardware or software in some cases to bring that all in. So I don't know if that helps or not.
Okay, good. Vincent, I hope that worked out for you. Let us know. All right, next question.
Greg Kurta from our own panel here, and the unpronounceable city in Norway, who I don't even try to do that because I'll offend all the Norwegians here, is asking about lenses. He wants to know what lenses.
I think
what items?
In-ear monitors. IEM.
Ah,
in-ear monitors.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking lenses. All right.
He
great.
doesn't care about lenses. He's an audio guy.
In-ear monitors everyone is using. Any favorites?
Yeah. Any favorites, anybody?
Well, I'll start off by just talking about the fact that I have two purposes. So I would not use these for music monitoring, but for the Zoom things, the N-ear little monitors, they use them for security people, and and there we go. John Idelson has the same ones. They're incredibly small. In fact, if I pull one out, it's virtually invisible. These are the kind of things that the security forces around an executive of some high rank would use. They're very clear. They're very speech oriented, so you can hear exactly what people are saying, but they are not musical at all. So that's not really in the ear.
What's the cutoff on the low end?
Yeah, it feels like it's maybe 400 or 500 hertz. You know, you can tell there's low end content, but it's not music.
Yeah. John Nielsen.
So they're also the group called Bumblebee, and there are two Bumblebee, yeah, and so there's two versions. The N has very fine wire. The Bumblebee, if I could find it here, has a thicker wire. I think you could sort of see the differences between the two thicknesses of the wire.
Is there a high pass difference between the two?
I'm not sure about the frequency response. The Bumblebee 2, they've come out with a version 2, which has the narrower wires, but this transducer is the same one that's in my hearing aid. So it has the capability of a good range. I've been able to adjust it. So I don't feel like, it's not going to be like having a set of cans on you working in audio. I prefer the N-ear because the wire is less obtrusive, but if I were going to be giving it to the civilians who are going to be taking it in and out a lot, this cord seems that it would last a little longer.
Yeah, I'd add on the N-ear, that wire, even though it's incredibly thin, is incredibly strong. I was really surprised that it does not seem flimsy for a piece of wire that small. I don't know how they've manufactured it, whether it's some weird Kevlar thing or something, but it's surprisingly robust.
Okay, Courtney, you had a comment?
I don't have them or use them, but a lot of people praise the Etymotic.
Yeah, those are
and
nice,
you can get their full frequency response in-ear monitors, and you can have custom earpieces cast at an audiologist to fit your ear perfect.
Yeah, my wife used to be on television, and that's where they sent her to an actual audiologist and had an ear mold done for her for the TV station, and they use those Etymotic drivers, so they're really well respected across the industry.
I think it's Etymotic. It says on their website. I posted their website link in the chat.
Jeff?
Yeah, Etymotic. For cheap, well, not cheap, I mean $15 disposable, these are Panasonic Ergo Fit earbuds. You can get them for $10 without the inline mic or $15 with the inline mic. What I'm using here is one that one of the drivers busted, so I chopped it off, so I have a single ear. They're comfortable, they're full range all the way down, so you can listen to music on them.
Yeah.
Decent quality headphones, and at $15 you don't worry about trashing them.
And just since we're all just one of my favorites for a long time was the Eclipse has an X11, and they're a little spendy, but they are just all the frequencies in that thing, man. But it's it's $250, $300, but they're great for just headphones for listening to music. Really great low end Eclipse. They're like these little, they're not giant like some of the other ones. They're just like little sticks. I don't know how they make that sound come out of those little sticks, but they're gorgeous. Yeah, Jeff.
I'm trying to see if it's possible to get one set to serve two functions. Just the normal function like this, so nobody complains about my speakers anymore, but also be able to wear them IEM for the band.
Yeah.
It might not be possible to cover both those in one
I don't know, and I think at some point, and maybe this is the way to do it, one of these days when Alex isn't around, we should talk about maybe having live speakers in your room, because to be honest, I've not been wearing in-ear monitors since we started this thing. I've got open speakers the whole time. And I think
thanks for fessing up. Way to go.
And I think the trick to that is twofold. It's having a good amplified set of speakers that you can keep really low, and then you hear it very clearly, but it's just super low. And then your microphone is close mic'd. So I think it's possible. I mean, I know it's possible, and I know you guys aren't hearing what I'm hearing, but it certainly is convenient that way. Yeah, Jeff?
Greg, so for playing with the band for in-ears, are you looking to get custom molds, or you just want something that you can put in the ears?
I mean, originally I'm thinking one of the Shure lines. I don't know about the 535, maybe the 425 or the.
Yeah.
Actually, the problem is, as a bass player, none of these are really going to transmit enough low end to make me comfortable. So eventually, if you really want to go the full thing, I'm gonna have to get the soundboard, whatever. It's like the old bass shakers that they used to have.
Right.
Remember that they had spikes on them. You pin them on the stage floor, and it was just like a sub transducer, no cone, just the transducer, and it would vibrate the whole stage. Now I could deal with that thing, but
they have one.
I'm going to get that. No, go ahead.
They have those shakers that go on your guitar strap as well, so it just like hangs on your back and gives you the low end through that. I'd have to search for that, but I saw it at NAMM a couple years ago.
Really? Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this in the first hour. I have as switching to electronic drums, you got to figure out a way to make that stage do some shaking, and there are a couple products out there. The one I was thinking of was Butt Kicker, which is just basically you attach it to the drum throne, so it's just for the drummer. But yeah, I've seen those out there for musicians. As for the in-ears, me and my bass player both use the Shure 535s. I think they're both great, and he doesn't have any complaints about the low end. But of course, it's all your preference there. So
yeah.
One more thing, and this is if we're going to the next question, I'd like to pose this to people, because this next question is a little bit of a security issue when it comes to answering the question. And I'll have Bill read the question, but I would like you to any answer you have. Don't use your own answer. Don't use what.
I don't know.
I'd like to.
I'm happy to answer the question. I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Shall we pose it?
I think we have different levels. Yeah. Let's go ahead and Bill, read the question.
Okay. Ranjan Chandel from Los Angeles is asking, what is everyone using for password management across multiple computers and second devices?
Yeah. So I think everybody has a different comfort level with talking about this, and I certainly can understand why you might not want to answer the question. I've been using like a password manager, like 1Password or LastPass for a very, very long time. And I'm very comfortable with what I'm receiving in terms of value. I don't think if NSA wanted to, find out more about me for some reason, they couldn't get past it. I'm sure they could get past it. But that's what I'm comfortable with. So that's what I'm using. So yeah, Jason.
I use and have used for at least a decade now LastPass, and I absolutely adore it.
Yeah.
The long term. So here's the catch for every password manager, and here's how to tell if it's real crypto. If you forget your LastPass password, you're absolutely in trouble. There are no backsies, there are no resets. Yes, there are ways around it that are clever, but you can't reset your password. That is the only true way that I know of to do perfect forward secrecy for ephemeral Diffie-Hellman key differentiation, at least over the public web, which was a big mouthful to say LastPass is great.
Yeah, I and just to add to that is I think the bigger friction for people is using one of these programs. I'd rather people use one of these programs because the only alternative is they don't use it. They use Notepad or something like that. And so that's the bigger danger than to promote people using one of these managers. Now, for folks who are uber sensitive, that's like this whole other level of, let's teach people how to do that. And, there's ways to roll your own password managers for sure. But I think that's a level where you got to be real into it.
Oh, no, I can say straight away that is a terrible idea.
Right.
Never roll your own crypto.
No.
Right. John?
I use Dashlane and 1Password for most everything, but on any of my financials, the password does not exist anywhere but in my mind.
That's great if you got a good mind, man.
Oh, then I keep changing my password because I forget it. But the financial institutions let you do it on a regular basis.
But how do you get them to change it if you've forgotten the password? That's the conundrum.
No, you call it a financial institution. You have to name all your children, what house you lived on.
Yeah.
I had one time when I had to do this, and I didn't know the challenge question. Some database they went through, and it was, what house did you live in 1972?
Yeah. Forget about it. Yeah, Bill, you had a comment?
Well, I just wondered how this, somebody talked about the interface between this and VPNs for obscuring what happens outside your house when it gets into the stream.
I'd also add that avoid anything that suggests it's free to use, because if it's being free to use, somebody's picking the data off in between, regardless of how secure they say they are. So pay for it. Don't get it for free.
Stuart?
I'm throwing the cat in the pigeons again. Okay, we've had chats about AWS and spinning up virtual machines, and I hope people realize that if you have the budget, you can spin up enough virtual machines in parallel to be a supercomputer. So any encryption is possible to break if you have the money to do so. And I don't use a password manager because it's storing the password online. I'd prefer to use something that is specifically a personal reference. I could describe books and what have you that have characters that I will use, but as they haven't been published, they're completely irrelevant to everybody else. And that's how I do it.
All right, good deal. All right, Jeff Francis.
I would just say, with all the personal information, who was your first grade teacher and what was your cat's name, password managers can create, as they can generate passwords, they can also generate strings of text, so 3 words or something, and you can use those, or even string of nonsense, as the answers to your personal questions, so that you're not actually using personal data that can be found. So it's much harder to socially engineer and hack you if you don't actually use your address of your house you grew up in 1972.
The problem is you have to remember those, though.
That's right.
No, you don't. They're stored in your password manager.
Yeah, I mean, but
still
if you
use a password manager. They're just easier than a hash to type in. Yeah. Jason.
So we're at the top of the hour, and we've got 2 more general questions. Then we've got audio stuff. So do we want to keep on this, or do you want to try to?
Let's finish the question, and we got time, so we'll just kind of keep rolling. Sure, Jason.
So I'm going to pull the cat back from the pigeons. That was the greatest Aussieism I've ever heard in my whole life.
That was pretty.
That was amazing. So generally, when public key cryptography gets broken, it is not the result of the math. The math works. That's why we have an NSA. That's why we need an NSA. That's not the issue. If you're just randomly cracking a password, something like a 48-bit key is roughly from now until the heat death of the universe. The issue is that there's no such thing as a perfect random number, which is what Stuart's going to get into, I would assume. Again, don't get too heady about this. If your passwords are my dog, capital my dog 1, capital my dog 1, exclamation point, you lose.
Yeah. All right, let's finish. Stuart, go ahead.
Just one small point. It's not so much about random numbers. Everybody's got tap and go now. Are you aware that it took 5 days for that system to be cracked? And Apple's vaunted similar thing, took all of 7 days to crack.
Right. That's fine, but we're still using it and the banks are still paying the bills. And so it's good enough. It's no system's going to be perfect. The point is, I think Rajan, after you've heard everybody's opinion, I would really encourage you to use some kind of password management than to not, if that's the option. And the two we mentioned, LastPass and 1Password are excellent tools for that if you're considering.
I totally agree with Phil. We're not keeping the nuclear codes. You just want to add enough friction to keep the people who would likely try to get casual stuff out of your life to them. And there's not, I'm not that interesting.
Yep. All right. Go to John's question here.
John in Las Vegas says, today, the U.S. Department of Justice filed a landmark case against Google. Is Facebook, Amazon, and or Twitter next?
So give us the summary, John, of what the case is about.
I just saw this news today. It just landed just a couple hours ago. And so this is the first case based upon all that, that 400-page document that they
released. Is it antitrust? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It is. It's antitrust.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting.
No
surprise.
To watch. It's been coming for years.
Yeah. But maybe it's in a good way. It'll get it out of their system. Have the trial, let it go, see where it goes.
Let's sort it all out once and for all. Until
and then we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sky.
I just remember when Microsoft was being looked into deeply. I think it was an antitrust. I just thought the irony, of course, was that they were all using Windows-based operating systems to make it happen. So
absolutely, all the court documents will be shared on a Google Drive. Yeah, yeah, Courtney.
And with the current administration being what it is, you can be assured that Amazon will be next.
Oh yeah,
Bezos is on the hot list.
Yep, Jeffrey.
A little bit more information on it. It says the 64-page complaint calls Google a gateway to the internet. And while it does give Google credit for transforming a small search engine into a technology giant, also accuses the company of exclusionary practices that are harmful to competition.
Interesting. Okay. Bill.
Yeah, this may be another follow the money thing. I was a young radio reporter when I got to cover what it was then Mountain Bell rate increase hearings in front of the Corporation Commission in Arizona. And at the end of that whole process, watching all the lawyers argue the two sides of it, I just realized that if there's more people that can make more money, that's where the law tends to come down. And so I wouldn't, these large organizations, there's a lot of pressure to break them up if too much money starts flowing in one direction. That's just a personal observation. And I that's my long-term belief.
Stuart.
Forget antitrust. How about we just get these companies to pay their tax bills and actually put some money into the economy?
We'd have to get rid of Ireland
to.
For that to be possible.
Yeah, we don't want to lose
Ireland.
Ireland.
It's being arranged.
So I wrote a blog post. I wrote a blog post on MySpace about this, 12, 13, 14 years ago, and said that the government will one day break up Amazon and they'll have to spin out AWS into its own company.
Yeah,
I think Google have to let go of YouTube. I think that's where this is going for them. They'll have to divest of YouTube.
Anyway,
it's a lot. It's interesting. It's I can really see both sides of it. I don't know.
There are good arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
But the money always tends to win. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Right. And what's the alternative? It's like, if you don't have the,
that's precisely the problem. What is the alternative? You've got 5 websites basically ruling the entire known internet.
I think the other thing is to entrepreneurs.
Big ball of string. You and Phil and Kev and I will all just start talking.
Yeah, my only point, and we'll wrap this up, but I feel like if you don't have these giants, in a way, entrepreneurs use them as gold standards. Like, think of how big we can get. And if the government's sitting there knocking them all down, you're sitting there saying, well, I can't get that big because then the governor's going to, it's sort of like it's a barrier to entry as a motivational tool to have.
Well, it's a barrier to entry today because if you get successful with a new app that everybody suddenly wants,
you're right.
You get swallowed.
But that's right. You get Sherlock.
Facebook, Amazon, or Google. So where's the entrepreneur's inspiration to continue when you know you're going to be beaten that way?
That's true.
I think, one of the
You're
problems.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And
Jason.
I think those are good arguments. On the other side of it, though, we had what we did with the breakup of AT&T in the early days, which was you had a system that worked, was built out, government really helped with it a lot, and they made a circumstance where the profitable sides of the business did have to subsidize basic phone service for everyone everywhere. So they did a good job of getting it out there. And when they broke it up, it did make the landscape harder for consumers. So I'm not on any side of this. I believe that there is legitimate argument on both sides, but it's complicated.
Short answers, Jason?
I see tremendous merit in both the mountains that tech has moved and the little guys in our court systems being able to whack them down. I think that is the beauty of our system. Churchill, I think, said democracy is the worst form of government there is aside from all the other ones. In this case, this is one of these things where AT&T is a perfect example, and it's the churn that is the achievement.
Okay, Courtney.
Yeah, the thing is, big data is only valuable if it's all consolidated and can be searched in a single database, and that's the problem you're going to run into. Because so anything that's successful is going to become a monopoly because everybody's going to use it because it has the best database. So it's a self-fulfilling problem, and the only alternative to that is a government-based and managed data repository, and nobody wants that.
Yeah.
That's called China.
Stuart, we'll wrap it up.
Just to what Kev was saying there about the gold standard. The gold standard now is to develop something that is so disruptive that those companies want to buy it and have your price set before you release the product, to know what amount you're going to ask Google or Facebook, how many shares you want out of theirs.
Right. Okay. All right. We could talk a long time about this. Let's go to the next question.
Sam Greenwood in Toronto, Canada says, does anyone use auto hotkeys? And if so, what for, and what are your go-to hotkeys?
I don't use auto. I don't know if it's similar to Keyboard Maestro. Is that a Windows product? Probably. Paul, yeah.
I think that's
Oh, yeah, we don't hear you, Paul.
Muted, Paul.
Yeah, you're
a scripting product. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me now? It's a scripting product, and I don't think you want to, unless you're a programmer or really into writing scripts, I think you want something that's more of a macro driven, where you enter commands and then you copy those commands and then you make that a macro, and there's umpteen of those out there.
Interesting. Okay. Otherwise, anybody else? No, it looks like, yeah, Courtney.
Well, it's just basically what Stream Deck does, only it has a separate keyboard.
Okay. All right. Any favorites? No, just kind of. Okay. All right, Sam. Well, you let us know when you check it out if you love something there. Okay. Next question.
I think we've made it to the audio side of the environment. It's 8:12. I just have to leave about 8:40. I've got a thing I have to switch for somebody later this morning. So Martin Reutman from Buenos Aires, Argentina is back with today's first audio question. Is there any way to share audio on a Zoom meeting on a Chromebook?
Well, I think we've had this before. I'm not totally sure. Anybody? Yeah, Jason?
I can think of exactly one way, and it would be an external Bluetooth version 5, whose protocol involves audio share. Bose can do audio share, for example, and it's just two simultaneous synced streams. The idea is you're on an airplane, you're both watching a movie, and oh boy, it's late. Yeah, I'm out. Take care, everybody.
Take care, man. Yeah. Any other Chromebook tips? Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah, I think the question is asking not about two people sharing it, but actually sharing from the Chromebook audio. And I need to dig up that chart.
I see.
That Emily had about the capabilities of different operating systems.
I'm not sure if that. I know in some cases those Chromebooks are pretty locked down. My son's is pretty locked down from his school, so I'm not sure. Martin, maybe throw that in the Discord chat and see if anybody can help him out. All right, next question.
Next question is from John D. Pruitt from Huntsville, North Carolina. Why are the DBs on the morning mic checks negative? And if Jeff doesn't want to do the whole thing properly, I'll go ahead, Jeff.
Go, Jeff. Yeah.
So LUFS are based on dBFS, which is decibels full scale. And that's how the digital system is set up, where our maximum level, our 0 dBFS, is at the maximum level we can have. The easy way to think about this for us human beings that are decimal creatures with 10 fingers, if you think about a 3-digit number, the biggest one you can have is 999. That's the 0 dBFS. That's the loudest thing you can have in a digital system. So everything that is possible is quieter than that. So we're either at 0, which is the maximum, or we are negative below that. Another way that people have talked about it is depth below sea level. So we're heading for 20 feet below sea level.
That's
and if
good.
you're at minus 30, you're 30 feet below sea level, so you need to swim up a little bit.
Nice.
And now I've
Hey,
stopped talking.
I'm sorry, Phil, I have to leave, so I'm going to dive out.
No
so
worries.
somebody else.
We'll,
Okay.
we'll keep it going. No worries. Thanks, Jeff, for that answer there. That's I like the sea level analogy there. Good deal. All right, so we'll move on. Let's see, my view just switched here because we're showing the amount. Oh yeah, John, you had a hand up.
Sea level is a great analogy. I'm going to steal that one from you, Jeff. And where do I sign up for your class? That's
right.
I would love to attend your classes.
That's
I
right.
love
I like
some
that.
of your diagrams when we first started on your PowerPoints. They were fantastic. Wi-Fi used also negative dBMs. And the way that I explain that to people is if you had your device right next to the access point or wired directly in the access point, you'd have 100% signal. As you move away from that device, it decrements, losing power in that regard. Very, very similar scale.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see how it'd be confusing. You know, yeah, good. All right. Yeah, Courtney.
I was just going to say that minus 20 is only significant because it kind of became a standard for a average level for recording. But in some situations, you'll find minus 12 and minus 18. So those are the three numbers you're going to find in different recording systems. Consumer stuff, a lot of it is minus 12. And more professional stuff was either minus 18 or minus 20. Everyone's pretty much settled on minus 20 as a good average now.
Yeah, good. Cool. All right. Vincent Alvarez from Bellingham asks, why, when using a Pile headset mic, do we have to get a TechRise dongle? Why can't we just take the mic's 3.5 millimeter jack directly into the PC tower's mic port, which is pink, I guess, in his case? Anyone want to tackle that? Yeah, Courtney?
You probably can, because most PC microphone inputs do have plug-in power on them, which all the Pile microphones do require DC of 1.5 to 9 volts. The problem is they come with this evil connector, which is a tip shield, no ring. And depending upon the computer, some computers used to provide the bias voltage, which is the 2 to 3 volts that the microphone needs to operate on the ring. And if it does that, then this type of plug will short the bias voltage to the shield and short it out, and then it won't work. So I suggest if you're going to try it. It'll work. It depends on who designed the computer. Sometimes they automatically switch that voltage to the to the tip, or they provide it on both. And as long as they diode isolate it, it should work fine. If not, do what I did. Cut it off and replace it with a TRS connector and only connect the tip and the shield.
That's hardcore, man. That's good. Good answer. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, I've tried plugging it directly into my A10 Mini Pro. It seems to work fine.
Hold the mic a little closer, Paul.
Directly into the laptop. It seems to work okay. And I'm also, since this is the audio section, I'm trying out my Bluetooth transmitter. Is there any difference in audio between this and what I was on before?
It sounds pretty good. That's a Bluetooth transmitter?
Yeah, it's a Bluetooth.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Quality wise.
Yeah, I just wanted to test it out. Since we're in audio, I figure I can get away with it, right?
Yeah, sure. Sky?
I'd like to try to pin the WLM meters and Jeffrey at the same time and have him discuss what he just talked about and see if I can do this. And where did Jeffrey go? And that, Now, unfortunately, I think it's just in the Zoom meeting that we have the WLM meters and Jeffrey on at the same time. Now, what you're seeing, of course, is my audio. But Jeffrey, if you could start talking, and we're going to see if it gets out to YouTube as a side by side or not.
Are you talking about me, Sky?
Yes, I am, Jeffrey. Jeff Francis.
Okay. I'm Jeff. Jeffrey is Jeffrey Powers.
Yes,
that's
he
how
is.
that's how we distinguish. We have trouble with the Chris's, but that's how we distinguish between us. So I don't know if y'all are seeing.
I'm not seeing the dual boxes, Sky. So I don't know if it's going out. We're not getting in the panel.
What? Well, okay. I will step. I have
just
a
see a standard gallery view.
Jeff Francis and the WLM side by side, and
All right,
you don't.
we'll keep trying that. All right, John, you had your hand up about the Pile.
Here's a Pile microphone directly connected into an Asus PC. Their sound card on the front with the microphone input works perfectly. This particular sound card had the ability to boost up. I had to boost it up 10 or 20 dB, and it works perfectly.
You got to add some gain. Yeah, Stuart.
One of the points we're skipping is the length of the cable for analog signal versus digital. If you can have the USB dongle attached to the end of a USB extension cable, say sitting on your hip, you're only getting a run in analog from your headset to the dongle, not past all the power and lighting and into the computer. And so you get a better sound quality. The other thing is, Paul Wallace, I think I heard a bit of hiss from the Bluetooth thing compared to your normal mic. I'm not sure though.
You heard some kick, did you say?
Noise.
Bit of hiss in the background.
Oh, hiss. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
Can we get a sound guy to be Paul's sound guy? Maybe Jeff can do that.
We need a sound guy. All right. Good. All right. So Roger Miles asks a loaded question here. We're going to try to keep the answers short so we don't go down a rat hole. Can anyone explain Amazon's Audible monopoly as referenced by Cory Doctorow on Sunday's Twit? Anybody want to tackle that one? Yeah, Kev?
I saw that episode, so I know what he's referring to, but I'm not sure he means what he's saying. But basically what it was is that Cory was pointing out that on Audible, basically Amazon controlled the entire chain. That's really what it was.
I see.
So that's the monopoly issue.
Okay. Well, that's a nice, concise answer. All right, Roger, I'm not sure. I did not see Twit Sunday, so maybe Cory did a good job on that. Yeah. Okay, Andy Dahl from Durham, New Hampshire. I was going to say North Carolina. Recording of student music recitals with a good pair of Neumann large diaphragm mics. Need local recording and feed to a Blackmagic ATEM TV studio switcher. Can Mix Pre 3 be used as a stereo recorder, single stereo file? Are the preamps good enough for music? Is there a better option? I think that'd be a great option. But yeah, let's go around the room. Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, great option. Preamps are fabulous for music. It will feed a stereo output. It will record, I believe it will record a single interleaved file. You may get a .L.R wave file. That I'm not sure about. But that's easy enough to join together in most DAWs.
Yeah, I think that would be a great option there. Anyone else? Nope. Okay.
Isn't that what the Mix Pre 3 was designed to be used for? And I'd say the only difficulty would be the connection between it and the ATEM Studios. Oh, hang on, ATEM Studio. I was thinking ATEM Mini.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I will say is that the problem with using the Mix Pre 3 is there's no balanced line outputs on it to go into the balanced line inputs on the TV Studio, which had that particular switcher has two XLR balanced in, so you would have to get a unbalanced to balanced conversion, so you're going to lose the advantage. You might be better off with a different mixer that has balanced lines out, a little higher. Step up and bump up the sound devices to something other than
the 6 has it.
6 has balanced line outputs, but the 3 does not.
Right. Yeah. Greg.
I was going to say, I think the reality is if this is for a stream, You know, I mean, you could use the Zoom. You could use almost any Zoom as an interface. You know, as long as you're not cranking the preamps too hard. You know, the mix pre would be great, but here again, it's getting into that next piece. You know, that's kind of the issue with the mix pre. You know, so other than that, there's all kinds of smaller recorders that you could use. Some of the task cams, DR70, whatever,
Right.
60. Any of the little zooms would be great.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of options.
And I guess a lot of it has to do with you know, how many mics you're going to be putting into the system too.
Yeah, I think you just said two.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Pair. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Easy. Yeah. Right. Good. Okay. Anyone else have a thought on that? Comment? Nope. Andy, good luck on that. All right. Tim Corbin's got a follow-up question. He meant both IFB and monitoring. I'm trying to remember what the question was. So he was asking for, I guess, a switching solution, a board. I want to be able to talk to the talent if needed, adding a significant level of complexity and routing to that equation, but that could channel on each person's aux mix. The application is some presenters in a room, some remote presenters, vMix, program out into Teams Zoom. I think a robust mixer is my missing link. Note via channel. If you're using vMix, there's some real clever stuff you can do with vMix with regard to aux and talkback. And actually, we were just kind of we actually just doing a couple of productions with talkback into vMix and letting vMix just handle the routing internally. There's some scripting that you need to do, some shortcuts that will help that. That's one way to go and to utilize the power. There's some pretty deep power inside of vMix. Otherwise, you need to take it out to a mixing board again. And I think go back to my default, get a good sound guy. John Preto.
So we just did this, Tim, and here's what we did. We hired Tucker, and you could rent his system. He sets everything up for you.
That's a Unity cloud system.
He owns his own servers.
That's what I'm. But it's based on Unity.
Yes, it's Unity server.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. Right.
He has his own Unity server.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I used the Apple AirPods for comms, and I used my cans for program. And then you use your phone for Unity, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, very nice solution.
And it's very inexpensive.
And then, but you still have like Tucker or somebody actually manning the sort of the comms channel.
Well, he sits in the shadow. He lurks in the shadows.
Okay.
But once he teaches you, you have a 30-minute session with him.
Yeah.
It's really simple. You set up six listening channels, 6 talk channels, and you can select what channel you want to talk on. And we had our own private channel for our own staff. There's a producer channel. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But it's the mingling of that with your program audio, and it really just depends on the civilians that are involved as to how far that kind of a solution can go versus sort of they've just got one thing coming into their ear and it gets
I have an X32 right here rack, so
and that's the key, and the X32 and having somebody who knows how to run it. Right. Stuart.
Just dealing with the vMix part of this, you can route the audio within vMix quite easily, set up buses and send it out, like I mentioned when we were asking the question before, through the NDI output. The problem is finding the device to listen to at the other end. They get expensive real quick. The Sienna Tools thing is very easy to use if you're Mac based.
Right.
If you're Android based for your devices, you can't even put a tablet on top of a camera as a monitor at the moment. There is no solution there.
Yeah. So again, it's a spaghetti of a noodle of routing and busing and stuff, but it's doable, and done well, it can be really smooth to create a real nice production if you get that worked out. So Tim, if you need further help, shout out on Discord or whatever. There's a lot of folks here who can kind of go down the deep dive with you on that. All right, next one, Michael Vosbein. What's the difference between gain and volume? Wow, Jeff, I'm just going to have to just throw it to you again.
Okay, I got to run in just a second to get to class, but
all right.
Essentially, in layman's terms, they're the same thing. But we tend to not say volume. Volume is the last control that the user has to listen. You've got a volume control on your television. You've got a volume control on your car stereo. Us audio people would say that we have an audio monitoring level control. And all of those change gain, which means they make things louder and softer. But we don't like to say loud because then that talks about perception. But they make a larger level or smaller level. So gain, volume, trim, all of those are in the same category. Microphone preamps have a preamp gain. Trim is something that we usually talk about with something that has positive and negative gain. So a line input might have the ability to go 10 dB louder or 10 dB quieter. Our faders do gain. All of those things do gain.
Yep.
Now to Greg.
Thanks. Yeah, Greg, give it a shot, man.
Just absolutely correct. With just a couple of little other finer points, I think you can think of gain more in terms of electrical energy and not in terms of sound, and sometimes that helps people determine the difference. Gain is the amount of electrical energy that needs to be applied to bring a signal from some level to another level. Volume is more of a thing we can all relate to, which is, loudness. Okay. Trim is exactly that, just a little bit either way. So those are kind of the distinctions that I use. Right. Oh, also, and volume, if you're going to talk about faders, that's logarithmic. Okay. Gain is linear, I believe.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, Stuart.
The 4 or 5 year old response. Gain is how much amplification you put on the input, and volume is how much you limit the output.
I don't know if that's 4 or 5. I'm saying I'm 6 or 7 year old. That's maybe still a little tricky.
Which one goes to 11, Stuart?
Yeah, that's interesting.
The Onkyo one in the room behind the curtain.
Yeah, Sky?
Well, again, I'm trying to understand the difference between spotlight and pinning, and my experience is I was seeing the WLM beside both of those people talking about audio levels. I did not see it change in the YouTube stream. I was just curious what you were seeing as the Zoom panelists.
Yeah, I saw go full screen to the WLM for a few minutes, and then I switch it back when that happens. But now it's, as John's showing it.
I saw it side by side with Greg on my view.
This is attendee view right here.
I saw a gallery view the whole time.
Interesting.
Okay, gentlemen,
probably if you're set to gallery view in your Zoom, Greg, if you set to speaker view, then you should see what Sky's.
Yeah, I know. I like to keep it on gallery view because I like to see everybody.
Sure, and I understand. I'm just still trying to figure out how to use this switching capability of Zoom to a YouTube, and it's still kind of a mystery. It is.
Yeah. Sky, on that point.
Go ahead.
On that point with YouTube, who is actually sending to YouTube at the moment, and does them changing their view alter what goes to YouTube?
That's supposed to be what's happening.
You could be switching, but somebody else can be streaming it, and it will go as they're streaming it.
Well,
Sky,
I am the technical host. The baton has been handed to me. Guy is now saying multi-pin is the only for the latest version of Zoom, only shows in Zoom, does not. I can't read the rest of his.
It probably doesn't affect YouTube. So it might just be a in Zoom kind of a feature.
Does not affect stream.
And it might also be if everybody's on one of those, you have to be on the same version to see it happening. So those of us who have it,
I don't know what number I'm on Zoom, on Discord.
5.3 should be the latest of Zoom. It was updated last week.
And 5.3. correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, Sky, the difference between pin and spotlight is pin is your local monitor, and spotlight, if you have the ability to spotlight, is everybody else.
Right.
So if you're pinning it, only you're the only one seeing that stuff full screen. But spotlight is for everybody.
Well, TJ Asher's just chiming in also. Contrary to Courtney, TJ said, I can't read Discord, and pinning is local, like Courtney said. No, he's agreeing.
Yeah.
Confirmation from the East Coast.
So we're doing good. I mean, it's a learning process. I think it's an interesting feature that we can learn to wrangle, but we definitely need a explainer video once we get the official word on this thing.
Well, I think again, it's choosing your audience. If this is a Zoom audience only, Zoom has a lot of control of the Zoom delivery to itself, but getting it out, it seems
another story.
Thing.
Well, as soon as you publish that document, Zoom will change how the interface works.
It's got to be a live document for sure. It's never final. Yep. For sure. Okay. All right. I think we're about done with the questions. We got Tony asks, you still having trouble? Tony says he's got trouble with his camera freezing. He's used webcams on iPhone. Do you think it's his computer? Tony, are you still struggling with that?
Yeah. It happened today while we were on, and I'm using a webcam today. It happened yesterday when I was using my iPhone with Filmic Pro. So I'm just wondering, is it my computer or is it Zoom?
Yeah, well, the best way is to try to reproduce the problem. Can you make it happen, or is it just random?
I'm not sure I can. Well, let me see. Let me try to make some adjustments.
Okay. In the meantime, Courtney, go ahead.
Are they both going into the same USB port on your computer? Or are you using Zoom on the iPhone with Filmic Pro?
The iPhone was going into the ATEM Mini. The webcam is going into the USB on the computer.
And the ATEM Mini and the USB are both going into, the ATEM's going to a USB on your computer too, or?
Yes.
Was the ATEM, when it was freezing, was the ATEM out of the loop?
No. Out of the loop.
In other words, when you were using your webcam directly into the computer, you weren't using the ATEM at all.
I'm using ATEM for sound today.
Oh, just for sound, okay. So you got two USB inputs, and Zoom is choosing between the two. Yeah, just make sure you've selected, the right camera. Because sometimes if there's a short in if the USB cable is flaky or the connector is flaky, as soon as it loses that USB connection, Zoom will automatically switch to the next available USB input, and that could be why you froze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering though. My thinking is that it's probably the computer. It is 8 years old, and
did it crash where other programs wouldn't run and the mouse wouldn't move or things like that?
No. It's just the image actually froze, and it's been happening, I would say, for the last month. For a whole month, it's been doing this. Hasn't happened every day, but it does happen when I am on the panel.
Interesting.
I'd say update your drivers and make sure is it a Windows computer? Or
no, it's the Mac.
Yeah.
Just make sure you got all the latest drivers for whatever.
Greg, you got a thought?
Yeah, I am completely USB. I have two webcams and an audio interface, all USB, and I've noticed there have been a couple of times when one of my cameras has frozen. So I don't know. It could be a USB if my fix is always do a restart.
Yeah,
it's a hassle, but 9 out of and Mac problems are always fixed by a restart.
Yeah, Stuart.
Just reiterating a couple of comments from the chat about it. Chad Lafarge was wondering if it's USB ports are sharing the same controller. I'm not sure if that would be the same on a Mac as it is on a PC. And Dan Hubler was
It is on the
asking,
same side of the
requires
computer.
USB 3.
What was that last thing, Stuart?
Does the camera require USB 3? But I would suggest, actually, as they're suggesting in the chat, try different USB ports, especially if it's a port that you've used a lot and you've plugged in and out a couple times.
Yeah, just move the port,
wear and tear.
see if that helps.
Yep.
And then just try to pay attention to see if you can make it happen. That'll key us off to sort of where to look. If we can recreate the problem, force it to break, that'll tell us a little bit. So maybe let us know if you still have trouble with that. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. All right. We're out of questions. Anybody else have any final comments, thoughts, words of wisdom? Yes, Mr. Preto.
So one of my high school buddies is the VP of marketing here for Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if we're the largest or the second largest convention system in the world now. And I told him about 3 or 4 months ago about virtual events, et cetera, et cetera. And then a month ago, he sends me this quote that they want to build a studio inside of the convention center to hope to bring people in. I think it's a gigantic failure.
Yeah, they only don't want to be bringing large numbers of people into a new studio.
That's right. And if hybrid events do happen, the big guys always go to a sound stage or they'll go to a big hotel. Yep. And the small guys broadcast from their booth. They're not going to rent an expensive teeny studio inside of the convention center. And they went out to bid and they're supposed to announce November or something. Yeah. I think gigantic failure.
I think the thing to the strategy in that sort of thinking is for all venues. We've been talking to a lot of venues. Is to not make a studio as we know it, but to make an insert or a stand-up space and make lots of them that are just have a camera like this, like a little Zoom thing where
way smarter.
A little interview booth or something.
Yeah, and make a lot of them all over in this case, the conference center, and then have it be controlled from the cloud or someplace else, and then so that anybody with a 1 hour notice can say we want to stick somebody in front of that camera and go over to California or wherever it is, and that's the way we've set up at the stock exchanges. We've set up stand up over live shot sort of booths. And we've been doing that, for many, many years. And so I think that kind of a strategy would be great because it keeps people isolated, but still incorporates the venue in the shot. And that's what they want to do. Yeah, Courtney.
I understand their need to utilize the thousands and thousands of square footage that they have there. And if COVID
millions
continues, millions. Yeah. If COVID continues, the problem with that concept, it might work in LA. The problem is the people have to be there. And if they don't already live in Las Vegas, you're not going to get, it works in LA because you've got celebrities that live here and they want to do a drop-in on a show in the morning and they can just come into a little insert studio and shoot it up to the networks. And that's the kind of thing you're probably looking for in a studio like that with a bunch of, like you said, little cubicles that you could rent out, insert stages. But
I think there's a business to be had, Courtney, for a venue that's at the edge of a lake in some beautiful town who has always made money off of corporate conferences or whatever. Now make it a glorified Zoom room.
The problem is traveling right now. People don't travel. They don't want to get on an airplane and travel.
No. I agree. What I'm saying though is if somebody wants to have a unique Zoom experience and they're local to that venue, to rent that out as instead of doing it in their bedroom, to go and there's some money, there's a corporate event, hey, coming to you live from the edge of the lake.
I happen to live on a lake, so
this is what I'm saying. But you got a great background.
Seattle.
Show me the lake.
I've got kicked off the lake. You guys said you wanted a great background.
I know. I'm a little contrary to Alex on this one.
Yeah, not all of us wanted that.
Yeah. I like to see a little flavor. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Stephen, yeah.
Cold out there and it's rainy now.
I mean, it's like Monterey has, a better chance at it. It's a smaller venue, and there's a lot of who saids that live within 50 miles.
Yeah.
You look up in the hills at some of those people, even one of the vice presidents of my bank has a house overlooking that, and he flies in and out every other week. I hate to say what his carbon footprint is,
right.
But his, Gulfstream 6 puts on miles. But I mean, that's what is there. And who's going to go to Las Vegas? I'm sorry. I mean, it really is not a destination for people who need this.
Right.
Only for the young people that like to fight on the strip now. That's it.
That's right. Courtney.
Yeah, I was going to say the recording studios here are the only ones that are still hanging in there with a separate facility are the ones that are doing ISDN links to, back and forth to Chicago to ad agencies or East Coast networks. And they're not locally recording anything. They just go in and do an ISDN link and they service
right.
You could still get ISDN there. You can't even, they've torn it out in
Bay
Area.
Yeah, now they're using the internet, but they used to be mostly ISDN lines because they're dedicated and reliable. But
right,
and you're just doing audio, so
right. Stuart,
I saw a meme today of a person using a Pelican road case as a portable sound booth to record voiceover for a news piece. And I was just thinking, since we're on audio day, what is the best iPhone or Android app for recording voiceovers and the best microphone to use it for doing that sort of thing?
Wow. Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. To me, virtually all the recording apps are about the same. There might be a couple of super high quality ones. I don't know. Courtney might know some, but they're all pretty much the same. It's, as long as you're recording at, if you're going to picture, then you want to be at 48K. Anything recording in 24-bit. I mean, it's just a recorder. It's not rocket science. So in that case, that's fine. I've done plenty of voiceovers with any kind of short mic, either a hypercardioid or even some of those what do you call it? The like the Video Go, the Go mic that you plug into your iPhone. The trick to that is put the mic at a 45-degree angle parallel with your mouth. Okay, you're not quite off axis, but it takes the edge off of being directly on axis. And if you're maybe 3 fistuses away or 2 fistuses away, I've gotten some very, very good results, very usable stuff.
Nice. Okay. Yep. Stuart.
So I should ask the second part of the question, which is the best road case to use for that portable sound booth?
I'm not buying the road case thing. I don't buy these curved things that you talk into, because the reality is what you want to do is you want to worry about the stuff that's behind you, not what's in front of you. So to me, it's like people who set up a voiceover situation talking into the corner of a studio. That's exactly wrong. It's completely 100% opposite. In fact, you want to be turned the other way so that you're speaking into the volume of the room and you've got the dead corner behind you. Right. Because that's where the microphone's facing.
Right.
Okay, so you want baffles behind you. Okay, to me, I've never, maybe they work a little bit, but as a one piece thing, as your only sound diffusion or your only baffling, no.
Okay, all right, good. We do have a couple quick other things people are asking about. Eddie Scott, does anyone have any tips for getting the Dolby Audio demo to run without buffering? Anybody done that? He gets about 20 seconds and then it freezes. I guess he's talking about the new Atmos Dolby Audio thing that Alex talked about the other day.
Download it first.
I've listened to it. I didn't experience any trouble with it. I don't know what that might be, if it's an internet issue or maybe a memory issue. I don't know. It's could be. Don't know. All right. So John, yeah.
While we got Sky here and some audio guys.
Good.
I was watching Sky's project with Matt in the kitchen. They were shooting outside. I watched Sam, the cooking guy, outside. And I don't know if he's using a gate, Courtney and Greg, or whatever he's doing, but his audio is perfect. And, you know, he's like a 12-time Emmy Award winner. I didn't know that about that guy. And his channel on YouTube, Sam, the cooking guy on YouTube.
Okay.
Has over 2.2 million followers, subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. Don't know.
And TV show, 12-time or 14-time Emmy Award winner. His kids produced the show, his two sons. They shoot outside, and this audio is perfect.
Wow.
I heard Sky's audio the other day. What's that?
Thank you for sharing that with me, and I did listen. It was a little hard to see or do anything other than watch a 4-pound hamburger. That was kind of the center of attention when he put his head, and it was still like a pimple on a elephant. But yeah, I do have the MixPre 3. I did not use it on my thing with Madeline. We are doing another show this Saturday. I'm going to try to get that into the pipeline. So
I'm just trying to help a brother out, man. I want it to be perfect.
Oh God, no, we're not. I just want it funny. I'll settle for funny. Perfect. That's going to take a whole lot more bodies than I got.
And which mics are you using outside?
We've got the Pile on Madeline, and we're going into the Rode Go. Currently I was going straight into the 4K, the Blackmagic 4K, and then coming in through Blackmagic through the ATEM into the Zoom. That was that. But what I'm going to try to do is Pile, Rode Go into MixPre. Then I crashed my brain.
You record in the MixPre?
I'd go straight to Zoom. No, sorry, straight to StreamYard.
Oh, you're streaming. Oh.
So help me. How do I get out of MixPre?
USB
into the laptop.
Yeah.
And then the laptop out to StreamYard. Okay. Help the brother. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. John.
Yes,
now
sir.
We're going to go look at a 4-pound hamburger.
Yeah, send us a link to that if you once you get that established. We'd love to watch that.
Yeah, 10-4. We've got it, and this time we're coming in from Studio City.
Nice,
Courtney. We're just right down there.
Fun.
Tiny Kitchen, Big Taste.
Can I come over for leftovers?
What's on the menu?
It's the lawyer. It's the lawyer actor. YouTube guy.
Oh, that was cooking. Okay.
Michael, it is. No, it's. He also has a YouTube channel called Tiny Kitchen, Big Taste. He's got like a 500 square foot studio apartment that he does a YouTube cooking channel out of.
Right. Okay. Greg?
Okay. And this is exterior you're shooting?
The one that we did 3 weeks ago for Evening Magazine was exterior, but it's gotten cold, wet, and rainy. We've gone inside.
Yeah, I think the best place to start is with with the head worn, the Pile. The Pile should work. Should work fine. That's the best place to start.
John was trying to help me get the noise cancellation, and
there was a lot of room noise, for lack of a better term, ambient noise outside.
Sure, it was outside.
Well, the other thing you could do is you could run it through Audio Hijack before you go to Zoom and just then put an RX-7 on it. That's what I have. I've got all kinds of fans running here. I don't know if you can hear them.
But does that add delay?
Not necessarily.
No. Some of the plugins in there I've experienced, it depends on what you're using. in audio
Yeah,
hijack.
you know, I have a chain. I have a chain, and normally, I mean, for instance, right now my delay's at 0.
Okay. Yeah. Stuart.
Speaking of delays, Sky, you might want to double check that the audio coming in through the USB and the vision coming in through the ATEM through the USB are both in sync when they leave for the stream.
Copy that. Well, 6 o'clock Saturday night, what are you doing?
I've got a time zone convert that. What time is it now? Because
about 6 o'clock in the morning, your time.
Yeah.
Well,
Courtney.
it's about 3 a.m. right now.
Okay. Courtney?
Oh, brother.
Yeah, I would say, you know, the next way to improve your sound would be to change the Rode Go to a higher quality wireless mic. Or if she's not moving around too much, go to a wired interface with a balanced input.
I've got the old Sennheiser, G2
or G3.
But can I plug a pile into that?
Yeah.
Of course I could. Yeah, I could.
You might have to cut the plug off and change it, but yeah, right.
No, it's a Sennheiser plug on the pile.
Okay.
Oh, I've got the Countryman.
Yeah.
My
Countryman would be even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam's using a boom mic and he sounds really good. I don't know if they're using a 414 or what, but
he's got 3 extra bodies.
Yeah, if you can, get a. The problem with a cooking show is they look down a lot, and if you're using an overhead boom, you're going to get a lot of the top of their heads
and pick up the sizzle of the fry pan.
And you hear the clinking of dishes and things. So it's probably better with a head-worn mic for clarity's sake.
And this is a New York raised woman with a lot of energy.
Go with the Countryman.
Yeah, I would go with the Countryman and.
Okay. And Countryman into the Sennheiser?
No, what's the connection on the Countryman?
It's the Sennheiser mic. I mean,
yeah,
it's a mini plug.
Yeah, and just
3.5
with the threads.
With a threaded collar.
Yeah, then put the Sennheiser, then the receiver into the mix-free.
Yeah,
mix-free into the laptop into streaming.
Yeah, you just got to be careful with setting your gain staging on the input and output of the.
Here's what we can do.
G3s.
We can test this Thursday morning. This is brilliant. I'm going to try that workflow with Graham because I'm going up Wednesday night to do the setup, and we'll put us 86-year-old man in front of a Countryman.
All right, sounds good. Let us know how it goes. Sounds fun, and give us a link when you get ready to go live.
Correction, Sam has 15 Emmys.
Good.
4-pound hamburger.
All right. So we got one last question here from Michael in Woodstock. I record video interviews and have no control over the gear of the remote guests. What should I be doing to their audio in post using Final Cut Pro X? That's that's just a wide open question. Depends on what's going on with the audio, Michael. Is it noisy? Is it crackling? Is it distorting? So it's hard to sort of just give you general guidance on that other than to say, go ahead, John, you give it.
I'm going to meld these two questions together because Sam's stuff, all his stuff is on YouTube. So it's all post. And I'm sure they're cleaning up, sweetening the audio after they capture it, which is a whole nother animal.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg?
I mean, I would probably, without hearing it or without knowing anything, I would at least try a high pass, low pass situation where you high pass at 80 and you low pass at 8,000.
Right.
Or something like that. It's Courtney. It's a mimic of the the X curve, the old X curve, and I find that for a lot of situations, it cleans up the rumble underneath, and it takes away any of the high end, so you don't have that proximity effect, and you can move you can move that dialogue back and forth pretty easily.
Yeah, I would guess that if they're remote guests that don't really have awareness of audio, nuances, they're probably just using like their speaker on their laptop or something like that, and you're fixing a lot of room tone and hum and
well,
buzz.
but the other thing is send out an instruction sheet.
Yeah.
You know, who was it who was on their computer microphone today? It sounded fine.
Yeah.
You know, if you Sky, if you control the situation,
right,
you know, and have them do tests. You know, if they're on a Mac, you can do a very quick audio test on using QuickTime, and you'll hear it.
Now,
you know?
with that in mind, I was using the laptop audio to give in-room response and the Zoom connection. I was thinking about adding like a little additional speaker.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put an IFB with one. I want less cables on a woman with knives.
Get it. Yeah. All right. Very good. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us, folks. I think we did a good job at sort of carrying the torch today. I appreciate you all sticking it out to the bitter end with me, and good chats. Keep us posted on what everybody's doing. I like hearing everybody's projects. I like knowing what you're doing. So keep us posted. Sky, give me control back, and then I'll shut down. Give me the host back if you would. And Tony, good luck with everything, and everybody, good luck. Talk to you soon. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.